That podium back in Downing Street again today, an image that peppered her premiership and which MPs came to dread.
We need a general election, and we need one now.
Podium moments in the street or indoors to call a snap election or berate the EU.
Threats against Britain have been issued by European politicians and officials.
The language was always strident, but tough language wasn't matched by political strength or delivery.
A significant number of colleagues did cast a vote against me. All MPs have been willing to say is what they do not want.
That resistance to compromise, she said, brought her to today's podium moment.
I have not been able to deliver Brexit.
But did it have to end like this? 3 months into the job, before Theresa May had met her EU counterparts, she delivered a speech that laid down red lines for the Brexit talks.
But let me be clear. We are not leaving the European Union today to give up control of immigration again. And we're not leaving only to return to the jurisdiction of the European Court of Justice.
With no disrespect to her, inevitably on the economic side and on single market and customs union and maybe monetary union questions and the broader economic domain, this was necessarily alien to her. She'd never had an economic portfolio in government. So we had to go very fast at the outset in autumn 2016, trying to take her through those kind of issues. I personally do not think that we had got very far in that process before she took the decision on the red lines and announced what she announced at the party conference. None of the key officials, the Cabinet Secretary, Ollie Robbins, the Sherpa, nor I saw the party conference speech, but it defined the entire strategy.
The idea that I single-handedly devised the red lines and cooked them up in a room with the Prime Minister alone and nobody knew about that.
Almost verbatim what officials say.
Well, that's for the birds, because there is no way that anybody could ever do that.
10 months after moving into number 10, encouraged by top aides like Nick Timothy, Theresa May tried to capitalise on a poll lead over Labour. Her general election campaign, forever now a model how not to do it.
To see Theresa May, this quite shy person, who's all about actually the party and not about her as a person, sort of touring the country in a coach with her name on the side of it, was just so incongruous, and it could only really have been decided by people who I think had really never met the Prime Minister, or certainly didn't try to get to know her.
Strong and stable leadership. Strong and stable leadership. Strong and stable leadership.
The Prime Minister, Theresa May.
And it was completely mad election campaign. This is a politician who absolutely doesn't like being in the spotlight, doesn't like things being all about her.
It's 10 o'clock and we can give you the result of the Joint Broadcasters exit poll, and it predicts only that the Conservatives are the largest party.
That shock-hung Parliament result triggered a deal with the DUP, but Theresa May wasn't reaching out to other parties beyond them. As the talks in Brussels crawled forward, some Brexiteers in her own party felt she was rubbing out the red lines, including the man who'd been her chief of staff. Who did he blame?
Cabinet ministers breathing down her neck, your old friend Philip Hammond, others.
Yeah, I think a little of everything. I mean, I think the politics of the cabinet, the politics of Parliament, and the way the negotiations have gone in Europe.
Some people say Ollie Robbins became the new Nick Timothy.
Ooh, I think the way people hype up the role of advisors is quite often overdone.
I remember asking her at Chequers at a lunch, will you do what you say you're going to do? And she just looked at me, because I said, I want the truth from you. And she looked at me in the eye and said, Richard, Brexit means Brexit.
It's about a red, white and blue Brexit.
I think she was mimicking us to keep us quiet. I remember many meetings over the last 2 years with my friends and colleagues where we thought, maybe she is going to deliver. We really began to believe.
No deal is better than a bad deal. We will be leaving the European Union. We will be leaving on the 29th of March.
Now, the most cruel would accuse her of lying, which is an appalling accusation to make against a Prime Minister, and particularly one of our party. But it certainly came across that way.
But the torrent of government resignations came from both wings of the party she'd worked for since childhood and loved.
So much of this has been about actually not being the person who split and divided the Conservative Party, which has been her life for as many years as anyone can remember. It's her family, it's the things she does on the weekend. I don't think she was ever prepared to pick a side, and she was determined to try and hold the party together. But ultimately, one could argue maybe that was a mission that was sort of doomed to failure.
Which will, to her, be a very tragic event, even more than maybe losing the job.
I think absolutely.
Many talk of Theresa May's long silences. Meetings might end without a summing up. Her thoughts often unreadable.
No, even when I told her she must resign to her face, which I sadly had to do not that long ago, she didn't really react at all. I think if someone said that to me and I was a Prime Minister, I might say, what?
There was no facial flicker.
Why do you say that, Richard?
Did she say anything back to you?
No.
It wasn't until 2 years after the general election that she reached out to Labour, a late failed effort that brought her to this moment.
With enormous and enduring gratitude to have had the opportunity to serve the country I love.
Now she hands over the podium. Her party divided and battered. Her mission to deliver Brexit unfulfilled.